Hello everyone, this is Husker Eurocat welcoming you back to the San Francisco franchise here on Madden Football. I have to apologize, this is a little late. My franchise got corrupted and I couldn't proceed into the off season. The game would just crash on me. But with some help from RevanFan on the Football Idiot website, it has been repaired and I was able to convert the new mod in the process. All is good again with the franchise. So a big thank you needs to go out to RevanFan. I appreciate all the help. The 49ers got dominated in the conference championship against the Carolina Panthers and lost 23-10. They tried to mount a comeback, but it was a case of too little too late. It's worth noting that the Panthers did win the Super Bowl, so at least they didn't let the NFC down as its representative last season. Now it's on to the offseason to see what San Francisco can change to improve things a bit. I would think that a primary goal would be to strengthen the offensive line so that they can develop a rushing attack, but what do I know? I'm just a commentator. First, we need to get something out of the way that was promised in the last video. That was to let everyone know who had a Pro Bowl season. We know that the NFC won the game by an entire 3 points, but who was in the game? Up first is the AFC, led by second-year man out of Texas Tech, Patrick Mahomes. He's proving that taking over for Alex Smith was a good decision, throwing for almost 4,500 yards and 36 touchdowns this season. I can't figure out why the Chiefs only went 8-8 on the season and didn't make the playoffs. It seems to me that the defense just wasn't playing up to their potential this season. Andy Dalton was the number 3 quarterback. Nice to see the Bungles doing more than one and done in the postseason. Giovanni Bernard winning the top running back spot with a solid 1,000-plus yard season. The picture becomes clear why the Bengals went as far as the Super Bowl. The top wide receiver was Cordarrelle Patterson, now from the Raiders with over 1,500 yards on the season. A far cry from his lackluster days in Minnesota. A.J. Green is there as well with almost 1,400 yards receiving, and it's now becoming clear that Cincy had something going on this season. Dez Bryant still making the Pro Bowl with the Chiefs goes to show he is an elite player no matter where he's at. Now here is where we get to see why Cincy was so good. Only 2 O-linemen in the Pro Bowl, including a rookie right guard. He must have been a beast blocking for Bernard. Taking a look at the D, Cincy again dominating the line of scrimmage, and they look young, so they could be with us for some time to come, if the Bengals can hold on during free agency, that is. And you could have guessed Ryan Shazier is in the middle of the defense. The Steelers couldn't get by the Bengals this season, but that didn't stop them from having an elite player go to the Pro Bowl. Remember that AB is now with the Texans, so I'm sure the offense was impacted negatively this season. There you have half of the McCourty twins in Cincinnati, and Jason is in Cleveland, so that should make it interesting around the dinner table when they go home. For the NFC, it's not a stretch to see Cam Newton at the top of the list leading the charge. Put Zeke Elliott in as halfback and you have a dangerous combo there. You don't get to a Panther wideout until the 5th spot, but then you have tight end Greg Olsen in spot number 1. Might have known. The Panthers are dominating the O-line as well. And finally, a 49er in the mix. At left guard, Kyle Long makes it to the Pro Bowl. I thought we were going to get shut out of the offense totally. On the defensive line, the Panthers are dominating the team with 3 on the line alone. And whoa, we have 2 of the top 3 cornerbacks on the team, with Ahkello Witherspoon and Prince Amukamara getting selected. A rookie strong safety in Ronnie Harrison from Chicago, and they should be a handful for the next few years, I would think. If memory serves correctly, they only need a top-notch running back, and they are set. And that does it for the Pro Bowl. I hope your favorites made it, and maybe the Niners will do better next season. On to the off-season. And the first order of business is to see who's going to be watching the game from the couch next year. Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning have decided to hang up the cleats, and 16-year veteran Larry Fitzgerald decides to call it quits. All with the Cards. Now that is a rare thing to see, a player start and end his career with one team. He was the number 3 overall pick by Arizona back in 2004 and will be missed for certain by the Cardinals and obviously the fans. Dolphin outstanding right end Cameron Wake at the age of 38 is saying goodbye to the game. The Panthers aren't going to like this a bit, but Thomas Davis is retiring. That'll definitely leave a hole in that defense. That brings us to the players that are re-signing with the 49ers. First up is quarterback Zach Thomas. At 85 overall, he might want to play first string on another team. And he does. There was interest there, but the amount kept going up and up and up. I think he was over $10 million a year, and that's just too much for a backup quarterback. Just think he started out as an undrafted free agent rookie, and now he's probably going to play for someone else. Tayshaun Jones at an 81 overall, I would think would be a little more demanding than this, but the 49ers get him for a steal, and he'll be in camp come this next fall. San Francisco decided that they need to try some new talent, so Wade Ward and Ted Scott get to test free agency. At 32 years old and only an 81 overall, Aldrick Robinson will go to free agency. Now, Bryce Butler, he's 30 years old, so regression is probably right around the corner, but he showed a lot of talent coming down the stretch as a slot receiver this season. He's offered a 2-year deal for just about $10 million, and he takes the cash and is happy with it. Jeff Janis is knocking on 30's door, but he made some pretty good catches as well. And with that speed, he may be used for kick returns, not sure. So he's offered a 2-year deal, and he accepts it. Michael Floyd is over the hill for an 81 overall, so he and Josh Turner are not re-signed. Tight end Colin Jeter is 25 years old and an 84 overall, so he is offered a 2-year deal, and he took it. In hindsight, he probably should have been signed to a longer deal than that because O'Leary and Kittle only have a year on their contracts, but we'll see what happens. Left tackle Joe Staley is 36 years of age, and the head office decided that he just needs to retire. Maybe free agency will help him make his decision. Center Mike Pouncey is 31, and since the 49ers need to make room to develop a younger talent, it was decided to let him go as well. Right tackle Derek Little is only 22 and needs some development, but isn't any worse than signing an undrafted free agent at this point. so he was given a 1-year contract. Now for the defense. Defensive tackle DeForest Buckner's rookie contract is now done, and he is a 96 overall. And he wanted way too much to stay in San Francisco, so he had to be let go. Left outside linebacker Pita Tamapino is now 26, and his rookie contract is over, but he's only an 87 overall, so he is offered a 4-year contract, and he accepts. Grigsby is 28 and an 80 overall, and it's decided that a younger talent needs to be groomed. Same deal with C.O. Moore. With Corey Jefferson and Matthew Thomas at 23, the head office couldn't see signing him to another contract. Now, Corey is a former undrafted free agent that is in his 3rd year. The 49er organization has a lot of faith in this kid, and he's given him a 6-year deal. Oh my goodness, worth just over $43 million. Not as much as Bowman was paid, but still a chunk of change and a long-term investment. At cornerback, there was a dilemma. Both Cockrell and Amukamara are getting to the point where they may not be re-signed when their contracts run out. With 2 candidates in the wings, Rashard Robinson and Christopher Edwards, at least one of them needed to be re-signed, and since Robinson and the Niners couldn't come to a deal, one was made with Edwards. This makes me wonder if an extension will be offered to Witherspoon, since he only has 1 year on his contract and is a Pro Bowl caliber cornerback. Makes you go, Colbert at 27 and still only a 78 overall will be allowed to test free agency. Free safety Quinn Blanding was drafted last season but hasn't progressed at all since then. The 49ers are a little disappointed since he was a 79 overall and is still a 79 overall. But San Francisco wants to see what he will do with another year of conditioning. Therefore, Robinson Threezy was offered a 1-year deal, and he accepted it. I wonder if the 49ers will try to get someone else in the draft. Kicker Robbie Gould has disappeared, y'all. He just wasn't in the game anymore after I converted my franchise, so you'll see a new kicker this season. That brings us to the end of the new contracts being handed out, and some work definitely needs to be done in the draft and free agency. Remember that I skipped the first free agent period here in Madden 08 since the AI does a much better job of drafting players that way. If you want to see how I do that, check out the Madden 08 instructional playlist here on my channel. For now, it's on to the NFL draft. With the loss of DeForest Buckner, the Niners saw that as a big need to fill. They also needed help on the offensive line, so it looked to me anyway, that they had 2 real needs to fill. Here is where I have to apologize. The recording of the draft and the signing stopped in mid-recording. I'm not sure what happened, but that's a lot of footage to go re-record, so I think what I'll do is fill you in on who the 49ers picked and signed to the team. With the number 22 pick in the 2020 draft, the 49ers took defensive tackle Captain Harrison out of Vanderbilt. He turned out to be a 76 overall with a focus on being a pass rusher. So I'm not sure that he'll work out to stop the run. Maybe he can find a home at right or left end with a pass rush type. San Francisco definitely has a decision ahead with him. With the 42nd pick in the 2020 draft, San Francisco selected center Jack Williams. That turned out to be a 78 overall and a balanced blocker. I would have preferred that he was a little stronger out the gate, but the blocking numbers look pretty good. With the 54th pick in the 2020 draft, San Francisco takes wide receiver Rodney McCoy out of Southeast Missouri. Finally, a pick that breaks the 80 overall barrier. His route running may suffer a little since his awareness is low, but he may be able to make up for it with his speed. Return specialist comes to mind? I don't know. Maybe. San Francisco will have some choices to make in the return game anyway. Into the third round now. With the 87th pick, San Francisco selects left end Fozzie Solier. Most likely a project for the practice squad, unless he shows a lot in camp and the preseason. Into round 4 and the 10th pick, right tackle Roger Kellemetti out of Colorado is selected. San Francisco was hoping for a little better overall than 74, but I personally like this kid's strength. His numbers indicate a run-blocking focus, so maybe that can help with the ailing 49er rushing game. Not happy with their last pick, the 49ers, with the 10th pick in the 5th round, select another right tackle in Devin Flowers. And unless he proves something before the end of preseason, I don't hold out a lot of hope for Devin. In the 6th round, because of Quinn Blanding not progressing like they had hoped, San Francisco selects another free safety. Eric Nicholas out of Alabama State with an overall of 77. Depending on how he progresses, he could overtake Blanding for the third string free safety or possibly be placed on the practice squad. Not sure. Still in the 6th round with the 10th pick, San Francisco selects yet another right tackle in Ricardo DiManchi. I do like this kid's strength, but I feel his lack of awareness might be his downfall. He needs to work pretty hard to earn a roster spot, I would think. And with their last pick in the 7th round, San Francisco takes strong safety Blake Langford out of Mississippi State. He's another one that may be a stretch to make this squad. His awareness is really low, and that may hurt his chances. But that's what preseason is for. I thought it might be nice to see some of what San Francisco missed out on during this draft. So first in the number 1 spot overall, quarterback Jake Cooks with an 82 overall gets a 7-year contract out of the Raiders. And with Derek Carr already in place there, he may be learning for a few seasons before earning a starting role. Coach Gruden definitely has some options there. Selected by the Cardinals with the 2nd pick was defensive tackle Jerron Harmon. He ended up being an 82 overall and will most likely start day 1 for the Cardinals, depending on whether they decide to play in a 3-4 or a 4-3 based defense. The 49ers were slotted for the 10th pick, but once Harmon was gone and the Saints offered a 1st and 2nd round pick for selection number 10, they decided to drop down to number 22, and that's when right tackle Cooper Tandy was taken. He had an overall of 80 and will definitely start day 1 for the Vikings, since he is the 2nd best lineman on their roster. The 49ers debated on whether to take defensive tackle Captain Harrison or defensive tackle Tyler Whitaker. That ended up going to the Eagles. He was a 78 overall and will be a short player on the defensive line at 5'11". He's 4th on that depth chart, so it's unlikely that he'll play much, if at all. Harrison is down on the depth chart as well, so he may see the practice squad this season. And that brings us to free agency. Who's going to be up for grabs this season? If you're in the market for a quarterback, then this is your opportunity. Cam Newton is available, as well as Derek Carr. Now we know why the Raiders took a quarterback with the number 1 pick in the draft. He is gone. This reads like the who's who of quarterbacks in the NFL. Only issue is that some of them are suffering from the age bug. But if you're in the need for a quarterback, this is the time to snag one. San Francisco's objective is clear. They need a good kicker and maybe some backups to fill in the roster, and the 49ers are set for this season. They find Ka'imi Fairbairn in free agency. At a 92 overall, he is snapped up. Here they find a number of good backups and fill in a good portion of the roster to give some good competition for backup spots. Look at the backup quarterback that was found. Geno Smith, still with a rocket arm, and he should give Austin Allen a little more time to develop. Looking to the preseason roster, we find that a couple of undrafted free agents may be giving Layman McCain a little competition for that 4th running back slot. You're going to find that San Francisco has a lot of the same players in key roles on the roster this season, but there has been a shakeup in both the offensive and defensive lines, with Staley and Buckner not being re-signed to new contracts. Here on the O-line, the 49ers plug in Mike McGlinchey after a season of playing backup. There's definitely a battle going on at left guard for the starting spot, but who knows what will happen in preseason. Maybe a move to a new spot for either Long or Williams? Maybe. It's hard to move a Pro Bowl left guard like Long, I would think, though. On the D-line, there is a definite hole left by the exit of DeForest Buckner. I think it'll be fascinating to see if Niles Lawrence-Stample can hang on to that starting role in the defensive tackle slot come day 1 of the regular season. Could there possibly be some roulette played by the 49ers to strengthen that line? In the cornerback position, there seems to be a healthy competition for the backup role because Edwards and Dean, who could be starting come next season if they play well enough. Finally, there is a battle at the top of the strong safety slot between Iheanacho and second-year man Derwin James. I would watch that competition carefully. The 49ers are taking that roster and heading into the preseason with it, and the first game will be a night showdown with the Cowboys in Levi's Stadium. The Niners will play the Texans, Colts, and Chargers as well. Not much has changed with the Cowboys this season. They still have the duo of Prescott and Elliott, but their receiving core has taken a little bit of a dive. Not saying they aren't good, but some of them are showing a little age, and we'll see if they still have more juice in the tank. Their defense, however, is as strong as ever. This will be a real test to see if the running game has improved any with the new line. This should be, obviously, a good one. Well, that wraps it up for the offseason. Thank you for tuning in to our coverage of the San Francisco 49er franchise on the Football Freaks Sports Network. Please keep in mind that if you enjoyed this video, leave a like so that others can enjoy it too. And make sure that you subscribe and click on that bell for notifications of upcoming videos as well. Let me know in the comments how you think that the draft may impact the play this season and what recommendations you would make for any changes. San Francisco has lots of things to consider as they start preseason number 4 in the Kyle Shanahan era against the Dallas Cowboys. Will the running game be improved this season? Will the rush defense still be an issue? And can the 49ers play well enough to make it all the way to Super Bowl 55 in Tampa, Florida? Until I see you in Levi Stadium, this is Husker Eurocat saying so long for now, and have a good day, everyone.